very basic logo and slogan appears with a countryside and reservoir view from upon the cliffs. Coming up on this amateur travel video production, we travel down a steep path and Christy opens a gate. Christy and Valo the dog walk alongside a short brick wall. The camera pans right to reveal the summit ahead. The camera pans left very close to a small stone sign sat on the pavement. Christy and Valo walk along the summit path with a view of the farmland and reservoirs below. A map shows today's route from Teggs Nose Car Park down to the reservoirs and then up to the summit, along with helpful GPS and what 3 words information. Brief information appears noting the walk is for all types of hikers and is dog friendly. The camera fades back into Christy and Valo walking down a steep path with the countryside in the backdrop. I, the narrator of this audio description, is now in front of the camera. I'm standing in front of a Teggs Nose information panel, but stood in such a way it shrouds half the information from view. At least the backdrop is of a beautiful farmland below.
This is definitely a destination where you don't mind walking alongside a lot of people. There's going to be tons of sights to see. Let's go journey on.
The camera has been abandoned at the top of a stone wall. All 3 of us walk on by, down the path the camera is facing, with a few trees on each side, with the farmland in the backdrop below. The camera gently pans to the right for a change. Christy is approaching and opening a gate blocking the way down the hill. I appear in front of the camera yet again. I'm stood on a steep incline path with the countryside behind me, with Christy and Valo walking down the path.
And just take it easy, but as always, look at those views. I can't wait to go journeying down here.
The camera fades and is now looking at the crossroads with a sign in front of us. Christy and Valo walk on by, viewing the sign and the landscape before walking on. Christy stops to kneel down, revealing a stone sign besides the path. The camera walks on by, tilting down at the stone sign that notes several destinations. The camera pans left to reveal Valo sniffing as Christy guides him on the path. I appear in front of the camera again, this time without my jacket due to the sun shining down upon us.
Scarves, jackets, ready for your typical English day, even preparing for that rain. And about 10-15 minutes into the walk, the sun is beaming down upon us.
The camera fades in, resting atop of a stone wall, facing another crossroads with a sign in the distance that we all walk towards. We inspect the sign, noting that you can head off left to Macclesfield Forest or go right to the reservoirs. We start to walk towards the path on the far right. The camera fades and pans right, with Christy and Valo walking down a country path towards another gate. And then Christy closes the gate behind her. The camera is looking down on a narrow trail with trees on either side. Christy and Valo walk on past the camera and down the trail. The camera now fades in, looking upon myself. Christy and Valo are in the backdrop, standing in the stream as Valo walks on by.
That's simply because there's a lot of slopes, loose rocks, and it's very unsteady, so watch as you go, and I'll try and avoid the shaky cam best I can. Alright, now I'm going to have a drink of water, just like Valo.
The camera gets a close-up of the aforementioned stream. The camera slowly pans left, showing the flow and direction. At the end of the pan, Christy and Valo are walking off up the hill.
We finally made it to Teggs Nose Reservoir. It's
A text prompt appears with Teggs Nose on it. I now appear in front of the camera, but I'm stood with the reservoir in the backdrop.
The reservoir, you can park here. I will put the details somewhere on this video. And I just want to go explore. Valo has gone on ahead. And so will I. See you in a bit.
The camera pans right as it observes sheep grazing in the fields with the sun beaming down upon them and the reservoir in the backdrop. The camera pans right as it looks down upon the reservoir. As it slowly moves to the right, it reveals the stone wall it's perched on, and on the other side is Christy and Valo walking onto the gate. The camera is now behind Christy and Valo as they enter through the gate to the reservoir. I perch the camera on the gate and look around the reservoir, which has a beautiful reflection upon it. The camera is perched on a stone wall with the reservoir on the left and a path on the right. Christy and Valo are walking along the path. I once again appear in front of the camera. The reservoir is in the backdrop with the farmland past that. There's ripples and reflections in the water with the sun beaming down all over the land.
You don't want to do the hills, the forest. You can go to these free word
Text
locations
appears on the screen noting see
you can
description.
just park here and enjoy the views. Half an hour. Go grab yourself a bacon butty afterwards. Alright, let's journey on.
The camera is now facing the reservoir in the backdrop. The camera pans left, revealing more of the reservoir and eventually the summit in the distance. The camera is set upon a small house at the bottom of the hill, just to the side of the reservoir. The camera fades to show Christy walking down the steps towards the house. The camera is panning left to show a large pond on the house grounds with a lovely reflection on its surface. The camera fades in on a very small stone tablet by the side of the road. Upon it is an arrow pointing towards the summit. The camera pans left, showing a small car park at the base of the summit. A Teggs Nose sign is in front of us, and Christy is walking Valo towards the walk entrance, which is marked by a wooden barrier and sign. The camera is now looking up the hill. There's a makeshift path bordered with trees and grass alongside it. Christy and Valo walk along the path. Yay, I'm standing in front of the camera again. I'm standing with my back to a stone wall, and on the left is a beautiful tree spreading its branches across the entirety of the backdrop.
For me. I'm carrying all my equipment on my back. Valo and Christy have gone on ahead. I can't wait to reach the top and take some pictures. Let's journey on.
The camera fades in, with Christy and Valo continuing to walk along the path. They're walking towards a woodland shaded area that looks very narrow and spooky. Oh, I'm in front of the camera again. The camera reveals the gate we've just come from inside the woodland area.
Just do this little trip and then head back down. There is another little route behind me.
Over to the summit that's directly in front of the gate.
We're going to venture to the summit.
The camera fades on further up the hill. Christy and Valo are going up a makeshift path. It's surrounded with small bushes on their way and a few trees that border the path. The camera pans left, but looking down upon the hillside with the reservoirs in the distance.
Summit walks like these are absolutely amazing for one's fitness. Now, I'm
now in front of the camera with a flourish of plant life behind me and the expansive trees beyond that.
And every now and then there are little spots.
The camera fades for a moment, showing Valo playing in the grass as it pans right to show Christy taking a photo of the view from the hill.
There's many benefits to going out for walks. Stretching
Valo running up a hill to greet me, but changing his mind at the last second.
The other, experiencing the great
We're now
outdoors.
back to me at my previous location.
Let's journey on.
The camera suddenly pans left to reveal a man-made bench that has all the names of hikes on the Gritstone trail engraved on it. The camera zooms in on these names before panning to Christy and Valo marching up the hill. The camera is looking down the steep path we've just walked up from, and the gate we've passed through, before panning left to Christy and Valo on the new path to the summit. I'm back in front of the camera. The land between us is in the backdrop. The farmland stretches on for miles with the reservoirs in between, making up the viewing point from this location of the summit.
You've got the reservoirs, and from this distance,
We are presented with the photos of the viewing point. This area is made up of a couple of benches and trees, as well as some plant life around the edges.
There's a lot of beautiful journeys to be had. And I hope you travel here too. See what I see and enjoy what I enjoy. This journey.
Valo comes running down from a small hill, with Christy running behind to catch up to him. He stops on command and Christy guides him along the path before they take a sharp right towards another viewing point. The camera is looking at the pathway. It slowly tilts up. Christy and Valo are now walking along said path towards a viewing point that has a bench and books contained in a raised box. I'm now in front of the camera again with the bench and box behind me. The camera spins around to show the viewpoint from the bench looking over the land below, with the farmland and reservoirs.
Sounds absolutely beautiful. Now, I would obviously do this myself, but I think Valor might get a bit impatient if I sit down with a good book.
I appear in front of the camera once again, but this time walking with said camera facing me, bringing the good old shaky cam feel to the scene.
Enjoy the views. We're just on our way now back to the car park. Hopefully not as sloping as I've hoped.
I quickly pan to change the backdrop to the farmland below.
I can't help myself. Taking a look at these views every 5 minutes, hence why most journeys last about 4 to 6 hours instead of like 2.
Then I continue onwards, walking and talking with the camera in hand.
Hopefully there's not been too much shaky cam today. I'm doing a bit of walking and shooting now, but the path is a little bit more stable here. Let's journey on, and I hope you enjoyed this travel.
The camera is facing a wooden gate to the right, and on the left a green metal gate. Christy opens the latter, guiding Valor through. In the backdrop is a long path leading to the cafe at Teggs Nose Car Park. On either side of the paths are fields. Both Christy and I are now in front of the camera, walking down said path. In the backdrop there's a stone wall on the edge. Beyond that, farmers' fields going on for miles.
Back into the car park. Now, Valor is on lead and behaving.
The camera tilts down to Valor before fading.
And I am going to go get my screaming milkshake.
The camera fades into a field full of sheep. It promptly pans left, revealing more sheep. It reaches the end of the field in which it focuses and zooms in on one sheep staring into our souls. The words outtakes and funny moments appear on the screen before fading.
Alright, today we're at Teggs Nose Car Park. You have no idea how many times I have to say that.
Valor sat beside a large pond. There's reflections in the water as the sun beams down across it. Christy and Valor are next to a stone wall. The reservoir is to the right. Christy is pointing to the top of the wall, trying to entice Valor to spring up with his paws for a photo, which happens for a brief second.
Is Valor taking a well-deserved rest at the start of the walk? Photo shoot time. Valor. Me? You have no rest?
Valor stood behind a small stone slab located on the path. It is a carving of a sheep and the writing Teggs Nose upon it. Christy places a tree upon the slab, trying to get a cute photo. The screen fades, displaying a photo of Valor in Christy's denim jacket. I'm glad you made it to the end. Valor and I really appreciate it. I learned early on humour was needed to make up for my monotone voice. If you want more of this content and are a glutton for punishment, consider subscribing. Please check out our other content and maybe visit Valor's Instagram, the link is in the description. But most of all, leave a comment. We wish you all the best on your journey in whatever form that takes. Bye now.